Hi there, I am Sarah Jane Case, and I'm the host of your new favorite show, Enneagram and Coffee. This podcast is dedicated to discussing the beautiful and hard parts of being human. We discuss the Enneagram, a personality map that is taking over the world, for increased self-compassion, personal growth, and healthier relationships. Listen to Enneagram and Coffee on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk, a literary podcast where we have been deep diving into your favorite novels.
This is Jack.
And I'm Amy.
And our listeners love to share their thoughts and theories via email and voicemail, so we're sharing some of them via our weekly mini episodes.
The views expressed by the hosts and listeners are entirely their own and in no way represent the thoughts or intentions of the original author. This podcast is a discussion shared to spark thought and conversation on the characters and themes of this novel.
Spoilers may be discussed with or without warning. Explicit language, as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, death, and depression will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised.
Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, with a special shout out to our November 2023 Trophy Wives. Thank you, Amber, Kelly, Amanda, Catherine, Veronica, Anne, Jackie, Violet, Jen, Nicole, Amelade, Jess, Helen, Danica, Carissa, Colleen, Alexa, Sam, and Allison. To learn more about how to become a Trophy Wife, visit patreon.com/Book Talk for Book Talk. We love you, Trophy Wives.
Welcome back to the second Iron Flame episode. If it's not obvious yet, we will be going into Iron Flame Fourth Wing spoilers, so spoiler alert.
We just don't hold back.
No, and by us not holding back, it's reading other people's thoughts.
Yep. Right. Jess says, oh, by the way, we are live streaming this for our Trophy Wives as we're actively recording. Jess is in the audience and she says, you can't see us, can you? Because I'm going in on an apple pie and it is not decent. Jess, we cannot see you, so you're okay.
I would love to be indecent with an apple pie. Nope, that did not come out the right way I wanted it to. I'm just getting American Pie now.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, last week we did Iron Flame Part 1, where we just gave our initial thoughts. I have to say, a number of people reached out and said that they agree with us, and I got nervous because I'm like, are we being too harsh with this? But yeah, no, people had similar thoughts. And today I'm here to read you some listener comments. Normally we try to hit all the comments, but because I'm trying to get some TikTok theories, I won't be able to read everything. But
some highlights.
Yes. Thank you. I was trying not to burp. Randall came home and he has some stuffing that's like cornbread, and I think there's sausage in there. And so I've just been eating all of his stuffing. So it's been great. Yes.
From Thanksgiving. We recorded this.
Yeah, well, no, this is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So this is like, you guys don't you never get an episode so fresh.
Yeah. It's true. Normally we sit on something for weeks before.
Yep, we're different people by the time.
Sometimes months.
Now we're fresh people. Okay. Ready? So
yes.
Here are some of our listener thoughts. Overall, a good book, but I was getting tired of all the relationship drama.
Honestly, I agree. It just never got better. It was the same stuff over and over. Honestly, it just felt too much like real life. I was like, okay, in a book, it needs to move faster.
It's like in that moment in real life when you're like, we've had the same argument 5 million times.
Yep. I understand that that's a real thing, but we don't want that in
no,
a book.
No, I want it to be resolved easy, and then we move on to the next conflict.
That's right.
Didn't get a good enough reason as to why Xaden turned. Needed to flesh that out a bit more.
Turned as in Venom. Venom, sorry.
Turned. Yeah. Like there wasn't a good enough reason for it.
Other than he was hurt. Other than he was like trying to save Violet.
Or if we find out in the next book that it's because of like he like his dad's Venom or someone else that he knows. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's dissatisfying because we didn't have all the information, and we're not going to get all the information until the next book.
So long, and yet not a lot happened.
How many pages is it? Because I didn't read the physical book.
Many pages, but someone said that it's not as many pages as Crescent City, but it has more words than Crescent City.
Oh,
yeah, but
really?
that was a TikTok, and we can't believe everything I see on TikTok.
That's true. So it's not as much as Crescent City, but maybe it's as much as Mist and Fury or Wings of Ruin, and a lot happens in those books.
So you're saying, yeah, oh
By
yeah, okay. I'm
comparison.
like, so you're saying she should add more. I mean, it's true in the sense that like there was, because she treated it like 2 books. So
yeah,
as a whole, it doesn't feel like a lot's happened because you're kind of reading 2 books, which in theory you'd think that would mean more has happened. But alas, here we are.
Yeah, it you can summarize what happens in each section pretty succinctly. Whereas if you ask me about the plot of ACOWAR, it would be a lot longer.
True. I mean, and that's because 25% of this is them fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, this one's an interesting one, and I think you're going to really like this comment. It's the Empire Strike Back, but in book form.
That's interesting because most people say the second in a trilogy or whatever is the weaker of the, but Empire Strikes Back is actually the strongest of the original trilogy. So I don't know if that's accurate, but I think the spirit is it's the sequel, and the sequel is always less strong. Just look at Crescent City. Hosab is weaker than Earth and Blood.
Until we analyze it and we're like, this was the strongest book I've ever read. And then
I don't know. I was re-listening to it and I was
it's
like,
still a struggle.
It's still a struggle.
One surprise, one quote, surprise, I'm not actually dead. Plot twist was enough. At least let it be with Liam. Because I think with the first one we had the brother, and then the second one we have Jack, and it's like, all right, how many people aren't dead?
Right. And then we see Liam, who is dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought the Liam thing was nice. I also think it's a clue for whatever Violet's power is. Colleen says the Kindle version of Iron Flame is 878 pages.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty long.
That is a long. Okay, so later on I'm going to get into the Vanity Fair article, or Vanity Fair interview that Yaros did, and she mentions that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I will get into it. People kind of gave her a little bit of shit because I agree. I think she gave too much away.
In her interview?
Yeah. With what's to come. Like there's a couple things where it was like she didn't let it be. It's not like when SJM came out and was like, Bryce and Hunt aren't mates, or like they are mates, which is kind of like what she did, except like, you know, we all stewed on that for almost 2 years. And versus like Yaros did that, like, okay, it was published 3 days ago.
A month ago.
Oh, it was like within the week she did this interview.
Oh.
Another person says, I thought it was kind of rushed, especially at the end.
Yeah, the ending did feel rushed. I agree. The Venom transition for, I almost called him Zaid. Zayden did feel rushed. Everything felt rushed at the end. But I think most books feel rushed at the end.
I mean, you're trying to capture the element of climax, right? That you can't really drag that out too long.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I get it. But I also can understand why it would be hard to have a climax that is... Because, I mean, again, look at ACOTAR. The last 25% of that book is...
A lot happens.
You could say rushed, but it doesn't feel that way. At least not to me.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, the last 25% of Thorns and Roses has more content than Iron Flame.
Damn. Amy said what she said.
I did say what I said. Colleen says the Kindle version of Iron Flame is 878, while Crescent City 1 is 804.
Oh, wow.
And Crescent City 2 is 806.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So
wow.
Iron Flame is a long one.
It is long, but I would not say it's as chock full as any of the Crescent City books.
Agreed. Crescent City, she's just trying to do so much. Such a short amount of time.
She does a lot. She's very economical with her space. Like,
Yeah.
everything serves a purpose.
Amy and I just did episode 1 recording for season 5 for Crescent City 1.
Yeah.
And we just cover the first 3 chapters, and it was like
2.5 hours long.
so much. She just did so much in such a short amount of time that you don't even know.
Granted, my cat did interrupt us a few times.
Yeah.
And we're still actively recording.
Yes. Okay, this one I'm a little tickled. It's funny, and I agree. It's got Professor Umbridge / Order of the Phoenix vibes. Tired of X and V being separated so much. So the whole like, I'm a professor and I'm openly evil and I'm going to come at you.
I 100% agree. And I mean, you could even say a lot of the fighting between Violet and Xaden is very reflective of Harry being angry all throughout Order of Phoenix.
I mean, I think Order of the Phoenix is one we compared previously also because of the whole coping with. Yeah.
You're right.
So this is very Order of the Phoenix-y for many reasons.
And I know it was, you liked that book for reasons. I did not like that book.
A majority of people did not like it for reasons.
Yeah.
Nor should anyone like it for my reasons. So
yeah, that's right.
Sad for Xaden and Violet, but Violet sounds like a prophecy, perhaps.
Violet sounds like a prophecy? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've been listening to too many audiobooks.
If the fact that Adrena, no. Andarna, thank you. The fact that Andarna has been like, I've been waiting for you
650 years.
The heart of a scribe and the balls of a
the heart of a flyer and the mind of a scribe. Mind of a scribe, heart of the flyer.
Oh, well, I like mine better. The wivons of
the
cojones of a writer. Pacing was weird and it needed 2 more rounds of editing, but still entertaining. So harsh.
Wow. I mean, I was listening to it on 2 speed, so I can't speak to the editing needs, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, so you might want to cut this out. I don't know. We had an interview lined up we were working on an interview with Rebecca Yarros, and then it never got scheduled because she was on a tight deadline for Iron Flame.
I'll say it. They canceled.
I mean, but we never had a confirmed date or time.
No.
They did say they would do it, and then it got canceled. So I don't know what the writing process was like for her. Maybe she was doing a lot of editing up until the wire. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, sometimes I wonder it's good that we didn't interview her, because then I think we'd be like, I can't say anything bad because now we know her.
Right.
All right. Would you like to read Jessica's comment?
Yes. Jessica says, the entire concept of some of the leaders being evil and hiding the truth and knowing that some of the students knew but never addressed it did not make sufficient sense to me. They could have easily gotten rid of Xaden and Violet. I don't feel like the first few chapters of Iron Flames were strong enough to cover that plot hole.
Okay, so like the leaders knew that the Venom were out there. Yeah, if they wanted someone dead, they could have tried harder.
Right, and that Violet knew. Well, I mean, what really happened is they got rid of Atos, right? Dane's dad. And he was, in theory, the only person who knew that they knew.
But I don't think they got rid of Atos. I think Lilith got rid of Atos.
Right.
I don't think she got rid of him because they knew. I think she got rid of him because she was pissed.
Right. But it's still, it feels weak. Because why wouldn't he have told? I mean, I guess he would have implicated himself in the process. Because I'm like, why wouldn't he have told
Lilith
that, like, hey, your daughter knows about that.
Yeah, because then it'd be like, I actually did send her.
You're right.
At least in Order of the Phoenix, continue reading Jessica's thoughts. At least in Order of the Phoenix, they addressed the lies that they accused Harry and crew of, but they were just fine. Knowing Xaden and the crew, like knowing that they knew. Yeah, so I keep comparing this to like if you were to tell me vampires exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think if you were keeping the secret from me that vampires exist, knowing that I have a Twilight shirt that I wear often,
Yeah.
that just wouldn't be cool.
Yeah, fair.
You're not I don't like the way you answer that. You
See
answer that like someone who is holding the vampire secret.
I equate it to before the US government admitted to aliens. It's like anybody who knew aliens existed were taken care of by the government, aka
Mhm.
erased.
Yeah.
And it feels like it should have been like that. They should have been more aggressive. Like, get rid of the people who know, or like,
Yeah, or what about the people in the school? Like, I just want someone to be like, "Oh, shit. Vampires exist?
Yeah.
What?" Like,
Yeah.
just something that people are excited about.
Yeah, that's true. Colleen says, I think the editor could have condensed some things down somehow. Yeah.
As someone who is about to enter the stages of editing or like into sending it to an editor, I get scared. I'm like, you're gonna condense it, but it all makes sense the way it's supposed to. So I feel anxious for Yaros.
I mean, there might have been not a fight, but there
Yeah.
might have been a lot of push and pull with the editor.
Yeah. Someone says on that note though, wish it had been 2 books.
Yeah, I mean, it really could have easily been 2 books if they'd put more content into each part.
If they had flushed out each part, yes. And to that point, like, was like reflecting on our genius notes from last week. And just the fact that we were both saying like part 2 did not reflect at all her torturedness. Had she actually explored that and looked into what that means,
Yeah.
definitely would have been its own book and should have been its own book. But it did feel like a lot of things weren't covered there because it sounds like all of the meat is going to be coming out in book 3. And this kind of felt like by combining these two, it was like, okay, but I need you interested enough to be around for book 3.
Interesting.
Because the big twist that we get is part 2. Part
Right.
1 doesn't have a single big, other than the library, right? And they're like, maybe they're, no, even there really wasn't anything in the library that they had. It was like the goal was to get the books. They found the books, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Colleen says, I saw a TikTok where they said it seemed like it was written episodically, kind of like a TV show. I agree. I think this goes back to what Colleen was saying. It should have just been condensed. If it was more condensed, it would have felt less distinct
Mhm.
and it would have had sufficient stuff happening to justify one book. But it didn't have to be as long as it was and
Absolutely.
achieve all the things it achieved.
Here's an interesting fact about the sense that it was written episodically. The Yarrow sold the rights to Amazon last December before Fourth Wing even came out. She knew it was going to be a TV show before the first one even happened. So now knowing that, it does feel a little servicey for a TV
does.
show.
It feels like a season. Like there were
Yeah.
2 seasons in one book.
Yep. Except we're willing to sacrifice because if you had one season that not a lot happened, but you got tons of like steamy tension, we would be okay with it.
Yeah. Actually, yes.
You right?
Yeah, because I mean, if it's only 8 episodes a season, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me all the sex on the screen.
And then let's see, I honestly thought at first that Violet would be the one to turn Venom. I mean, she wanted to, she wanted to be the one. It's only because her mom kicked her.
True. Yeah, I think I would have liked it for Violet to have become Venom over Xaden because Xaden's already tortured
Mm-hmm.
enough and everyone already has reasons to kill him. Why not make that Violet?
Unless because we find out Violet is part Venom and there's no way she could have been the one to turn Venom because then that would spoiler the fact that she is actually Venom. I'm going to get into some theories soon. Did you want to read one more comment and then I'll read to you some clips of the Vanity Fair article?
Sure. So Jess says, I have similar thoughts about the glaring fact that Taryn wouldn't allow Violet to share that Andarna is a baby dragon, but she was always going to grow up at some point. So how would that have been addressed?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I thought about that so much.
Constantly. And dragons were so secret and no one can say until they weren't for the sake of the ritual for the wards. And then it was just okay. It just didn't all come together as strongly as I felt it should be. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept thinking the entire time. I was like, is she done yet? To what? Come back as not a baby dragon? Like,
right. The second she's not gold anymore, everybody's going to know the secret.
Everyone's going to know. Sorry. They're going to know. How are they going to know?
They're going to
know.
They're going to know.
So I'm going to read you some Vanity Fair moments. This is from the article. And because one of the comments we got was, hey, how about that Vanity Fair article? So I'm just going to give you some hot moments. Okay. So the question is, why is it so unseasonably hot in Arita area? You know what I mean? And everyone comments on it more and more as the book goes on. The answer: it grows hotter as more dragons arrive, just like the Vale is tropical in Basgarth. As more dragons arrive in the valley, in Arisha, the temperature rises. That, I feel like that's a thing to reveal, not a thing like.
Yeah, that wasn't self-evident.
It wasn't self-evident, and I think that could have been like an interesting thing enough to, be like, whoa. See what I mean? Like, she just told us some stuff. We're like, that doesn't make sense.
Right, that should have been in the writing. Like,
yeah, and if it was going to be like this obvious of a thing that it doesn't matter and she just wants people to know, then like tell us in the book.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, or someone could have told us this.
Yeah. Why did Jack, who is confirmed by the end of Iron Flame to have been Venin for a chunk of Fourth Wing, save Violet and not just let her die or kill her in the tower? Answer: I think there's a certain element of Jack turning Venin. I'm trying to think what doesn't give away for book 3. Okay, he's still hiding at this point, and then she goes on to like, talk a little bit more about, he's going to be tricky because he's trying to fit in type thing. That's why he doesn't kill her right away. And it just felt like another one where I was like, I'm trying to figure out what to say without giving a spoiler where you could have answered and not given that it's going to be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her PR team needs to work with her.
No, they're not reviewing answers. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Question: the book ends with Xaden having become Venin, or is he still in the process of turning into a Venin? Answer: he's turning. So you go through the epigraphs and there's certain degrees. One of the things I love to play with is absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that when you want magic, you can have it because you can't have it because you haven't been chosen by a dragon or a griffin. I'm going to stop there because I don't think it was clear that he's turning and hasn't turned. Like, I know that to me, like, I can tell, like, it does seem like you don't like, bite and then you turn. I know that's not how, they're not vampires, but it's like another one where I'm like, I don't think you should have said that.
Yeah, that should have been something we discover in book 3.
Exactly. Or if it is hinted in the epigraphs, then let us figure that out.
Right.
You don't have to tell us.
Like, I agree.
If there's a clue there. And then here's the last one. I mean, there's a bunch of questions, but these are the ones that I pulled. Is Jack lying when he tells Xaden you cannot turn back from being a Venin once you begin?
This is something you do not answer.
Answer: I mean, no one ever has. No one's seen it. But we haven't read book 3 yet.
She could have just said, no one's ever turned back. Period.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all you have to say. We can read between the lines. We are smart.
Yeah. Is Jack lying when he tells Xaden you can't turn back? No, Jack's not lying. No one has ever turned. I mean, exactly. Just no one's seen it, as in like, even the no one's seen it, because now you're saying, oh, it just wasn't like, documented. Yeah. Yeah. It was annoying. Those are the things where I'm like, but you did not have to say that, babe. You were fine.
Jess says the commentary on the weather was so perplexing to me because it was so clearly intentional, but then no explanation was given.
Yeah.
And you should not have to explain it in an article and assume everybody knows or is going to read the article.
And if it's going to be something that you're like, oh, in book 3, this is a big reveal. Or if it's a simple thing that you don't care about everyone spoiling, or spoiling it, yeah, then spoil is a really hard word for me tonight, apparently.
Hey, you know what? It's a Monday.
It is a Monday, and it's a full moon, and I'm going to have to edit this after. And I'm just so aware of the mistakes I'm making, which goes into the editing that I'm going to have to do for myself. And it's me, myself, and I that I'm mad at right now. You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing wonderful.
Fall has officially started here in Los Angeles, and that means we finally get to do fall activities.
I have been counting down the days for when I can go to pumpkin patches, maybe even hit up an apple orchard, and I get to do all of it looking super cute in my Quince boyfriend sweater.
This weather is perfect for my dark academia vibes, and I'm so excited to bust out my washable silk blouse because you know I'm going to be taking pictures.
Quince is known for their Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. And that's not all. Quince has so many other amazing things on their website.
All of those items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
That includes leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim. Like my entire fall wardrobe is genuinely turning into Quince wardrobe.
By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, we get savings as the customer.
One of my favorite parts about Quince is the fact that they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And they still manage to get premium fabrics and finishes for that, luxury feeling for every item that they have.
Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/booktalk.
So now I'm going to go into TikTok theories. There's quite a bit. We'll breeze through them or talk about it as we want because it's our podcast and we talk what we want to talk after they tell us what to do. Okay. So the general, who is
Melgren?
No. The general, like the Venom general who Xaden fought.
Oh, okay. The sage.
The sage / killed, except we didn't see a body, so we can all agree, not dead.
Right. He just said it fell into a ravine.
Yeah. He's like, I killed him. He fell into a ravine. It's like, okay, sure, not actually there. So here are some thoughts. It is his grandfather, who was Sagail's writer. Okay. And another thought is that it was Nolan, the person who saved Brennan.
Got it.
The sage. Got it. Now, before I go on any further, Nolan, we can agree that was Brennan's lover. I don't know why. At the end of book 1, I felt like that was the most given thing. And then now after book 2, everyone was like, I think they were together. And I was like, did we not know Brennan was gay? Because I instantly was like, Brennan's gay.
I honestly never thought about it.
Oh, Brennan's gay. Like, and then just the fact that when she's like, are you married? He goes, I don't have a partner. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
And then, I was like, they fucked. That is a clear thing. Now, keep in mind, as I talk about Nolan, just remind everyone that it was Taryn's writer too.
Taryn's previous writer.
Yeah.
But would Taryn tell Violet his previous writer turned Venom?
Taryn doesn't tell shit. True. Because, okay, so this goes into, also all these theories are from TikTok, and I don't have particular names for each of these, mainly because I think I saw a lot of these from other people covering other TikTok people who didn't give them credit. Do you know what I mean? But like I got these all on TikTok. So there's a couple of things. One, I think we can all agree that Nolan is Venom, mainly because it's never said that he died. It just said that saving Brennan cost him everything. That's it. So it's never said that he died. It just cost him everything. Also, fun fact, one of the scribes, like, how there was like the 6, not the scribes, but one of the 6 early, like, first dragon writers, they were talking about, like, saving, like, writing stuff. And it said that it cost him everything. So we're like, did you turn into a venin? And then people are
Yeah.
like, are you the sage? Okay, so the idea of it cost them everything. So if we just go into it knowing that Brennan or that Nolan probably is venin, then there's this idea that, and we know because of Jack, you can still be bonded to your dragon. However, do dragons then have the ability to file for divorce, essentially?
Can they break that bond?
Right? Because then some of the theories is to, it's been said more and more that there are more and more dragons who aren't bonding with riders. Maybe it's not because their riders are dead, it's because their riders are venin and they're still bonded.
Excellent point. That is a really, really good point. Are we assuming then that venin are strictly riders who want more power than their dragons gave them? Because I thought venin could be just regular people who want magic, but, could never get it previously.
Can it be both? You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sure it could be both.
Because then that would make it harder, though, if it was like regular Joe Schmo who doesn't have magic. But I guess you can say every person has magic. It's the dragon that unlocks it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So maybe if you're a rider who's been turned, you don't get, because I feel like some venin are more zombie-esque than other venin. So maybe if like you are a rider or you've unlocked that special dragon magic, there's a certain amount of like immunity to the
You're
zombie.
more like a sage versus a husk obeying commands.
Yeah. I feel like we just came up with some good ideas there.
Oh, Jess said, regarding Nolan, I definitely thought it said he died. If not, then he's definitely venin. And Jack's statement about how we've been among you isn't clear if it's their society or the school. And I'm going to guess both.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now I'm going to go into this interesting, one of the ones I've seen take over TikTok theories. And it's about, if you go into the last epigraph, and it is right before Xaden's point of view. It says, quote, "We have tried every method we know as you requested. There is no cure. There's only control. Missive from Lieutenant Colonel Nolan to General Lilith Sorengale." So the reason why this is so important is because people initially were like, oh, they're talking about Jack, right? Like they knew Jack all the whole time. However, Nolan was a lieutenant colonel. We know that in the current timeline, he's actually a colonel, which is after a lieutenant colonel. So what we can deduce from this is that this request was made in the past. How far in the past? We don't know.
Right. Well, it's before Violet and Jack even went to the school because Brennan had been dead for 6 years. So, and Nolan had given up everything 6 years ago. So, like, this is way before Jack's time.
Is that the same Nolan? I can't be bothered to look. Someone else look it up. I mean, I'm making sure that I wrote. I'm making sure that I wrote it. I'm pretty sure I wrote it correctly. No, I did. Okay. So I just didn't realize that that's the same Nolan. I always thought Nolan was the same age as Brennan, but it doesn't mean that they're the same age. Nolan could easily have been 20 years older.
Yeah, that's true. But even if they were the same age, they would never have overlapped in school with...
Oh, Violet. Yeah, no.
Violet and Jack.
Violet. My mind is just blown. I'm like, Nolan, it's the same one. Yeah. So here are some theories to the consequences of that. So that means Lilith has been looking for a cure for a while. And we know that because of the timeline. So why is that? Did someone that Lilith loves, aka her husband, turn venin? Or maybe someone had a premonition and knew that one day they're going to need the cure, like for her daughter's, boyfriend or something like that. Or is it because she got sick with Violet with a venin, with her father being venin? Not the father that Violet knows, but with another person. Like, what if the Violet's father isn't actually her father, and and she was, and like Lilith was somehow or another impregnated by a Venin, which is like what we do know is that she was horribly sick, had a fever, and Violet, that's why Violet is weak, and the ends of her hair are silver because they are drained of color.
Yeah.
What else is draining? Venin.
Yeah, I think I like that theory the best, where she is the spawn of Venin, basically,
Yeah.
right? Whether her mother was impregnated or some other immaculate conception took place. Interesting. I like that theory the most because it would make sense why Lilith is so focused on making sure A, her daughter is strong enough despite her frail body,
Mm-hmm.
and B, she's obsessed with keeping her children alive.
Yeah. Well, we also know that, she was getting her daughter ready to be a scribe and then changed. I just saw Jessica's comment. We're gonna read Jessica's comment, and I'm about to be so mad.
Go ahead.
No. I refuse to read it. You read it. Good luck.
Taryn's last writer was Naolin, Naolin. The mended is Nolan.
Okay.
Nolon.
You have Yaros. Let's talk. You have every name in the world available to you.
Why are they so close together?
Call him Dave. No. I'm not mad at you, Jessica. I'm mad at Rebecca Yaros. Like, Robert, something.
This is like rule number 1 in naming characters. Make sure they don't sound similar.
Yeah.
Unless, like, maybe they're related. There's no reason. Like, I pay super close attention. Like, if I have more than 3 characters whose names start with the same 2 letters,
right?
You have to change it. People will get them confused.
Naolin versus Nolon. Nolan.
Jess says the old mender that we all end up hating totally could have been a Bob.
Absolutely.
Or, Gordon or Gary. Like,
okay,
why?
So it's the mender guy who sends that note, which makes way more sense. Also, we're gonna guess that Brendan's lover is the same age, but oh my god.
So Nolan was probably talking about Jack. What's his face?
No, but that's what people are saying, that it wasn't Jack, what's his face, because he's still, now in the current timeline, he's a colonel.
Oh, got it.
That's why I was confused about this whole, like, but isn't he dead situation? Here we go.
Yeah.
Thank God we're doing this live. This is it's giving From Blood and Ash series with the names. Yeah, that one is known for, like, you are just a hop and a wish and a dream away from it being the same thing. I am whenever I write my fantasy, I hear me now. It's going to be like John.
Well, mine are
they're real names.
They're real names. Evelyn, Seth, Rachel, and Garrett.
I can pronounce that.
You can read them.
I could, right? It's there is no need for it to be that close. My feelings are hurt. I think the role that Jessica says, I think the note from the mender was still pre Jack and Violet and could have been about Naolin, the lover. Oh, that's true. That's a good one. We definitely know it predates Jack and Violet. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it could have been for so many reasons. Why?
Yeah, you're right.
Thank God we didn't interview her. You know what? I take it back. I want us to interview her one day, and they'd be like, we need to talk.
We need to have a heart to heart.
We really do. Please don't ever again.
Colleen says we thank you in advance for easy names.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And as a service. It is a kindness to everybody.
It is.
I mean, at least Sarah J. Maas picks names that we all know but are just spelled differently. Like Ethan.
Right? Yeah.
Zelda was in there. Danica, like, those are names I know.
Those are names that we know, and you don't have to, like, make it. The most I can be mad about is, like, I'm mispronouncing Farah versus Farah. You know what I mean? Like, that's on me. Yeah. I'm willing to own that. Yeah. But just to have the names, like, so close, like, one's like Violent. No, I'm just not going to engage anymore. That's the lover and the doctor. That's their name now. I refuse to give them anymore. the next theory that is out there is Violet's second signet. So we understand that her current signet is pure power and that she basically chooses it to be the form of lightning for whatever mommy issues that she has.
Right.
So in theory, she can make it any form, right? A lot of people on TikTok believe that her second signet is that she's an amplifier. And you can kind of notice that people around her kind of be a little are kind of a little stronger, a little faster. But if her power, her first signet is pure power, then in theory, that could kind of be a built-in amplifier in a way.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause there.
I have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
What if her second signet is like, I know this sounds silly, but the thing that came to me was like, what if it's luck? Like, I just think about some of the things that happen in battles around her and everything happens too flawlessly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I mean, I
provides
think
lucky powers.
Well, someone kind of pointed out that there was a moment where when she did the running leap thing, when she was okay, let me go back for it.
Yeah,
Like, you don't know what I'm talking about? Or do you know what I'm talking about?
In the final battle.
Okay, no, but yes. So when she's going up the mountains with all the griffins and everything,
Yes.
and her and that other little one had to run and leap. And I think there's a moment where she tries to hold on to her or the other person and her elbow pops, right? Something similar happens in the final battle, but her body stays together. So I kind of see what you're saying of luck is like maybe it's like a manifestation or you learn one time and your body gets stronger afterwards.
Maybe. Colleen says, Euro said somewhere that if you reread the book, she left clues to what the second signet is.
Yeah.
What was the other conversation we had last week? What we think the second signet is? I said it was it was us together, some sort of intrinsic.
Okay, so true. Then I saw a support person on TikTok said that Andarna is rare, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that the second signet will be just as rare. And right now, the intrinsic, there are still intrinsics out there. It's rare, but it's not the rarest. So it would almost be like this power would be a power they've never seen before, or they haven't seen this in 600 years type of a thing. That's what people are saying. There's Jessica says there's also the newer emphasis on the signet manifesting as the writer's needs, and Violet will obviously need to cure Xaden. So it's that. So that's actually a great segue to another theory that I've seen on TikTok. And this theory is that she can resurrect the dead. And this has to do with the fact that I have an Andarna section, but I'm going to kind of tap in a little bit of that. People think Andarna is related to the gods one way or another. And Violet, at the very least, keeps mentioning the gods, is somehow related to the gods. Maybe she's a god herself. But what if she can resurrect the dead? And that's that could be why, one, she sees Liam because there's a hallucination there. Two, why Jack didn't actually die. Because she didn't really want him to die, so maybe she almost like resurrected him herself.
Interesting. Okay.
So think about that.
Yeah, Jess says, especially with her connection to Andarna, who's tied to the creation of the wards against the Venom. I don't know if I believe in the resurrection theory. I do see her being connected to the gods somehow because, and that goes back to this idea of prophecy, right?
Yeah.
That she could see Liam, she could talk to Liam, that it was a blessing from Malik. You know, it could be that her mother was so sick and she was blessed by the gods to allow her to have Violet, and that's why Violet has silver hair. Like, I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
Is like a sign of being touched by one of the gods or blessed by the gods.
Yep.
So, and for Andarna to not even be considered a normal dragon feels like Andarna's a gift from the gods too. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of
So let's kind of go into the Andarna of it all. So, like I was saying, people think that she's directly related to the gods. And I'm going to read you 2 quotes. Number 1, quote, "Something killed the Venin 600 years ago. We're actively waiting for that weapon." Then we think about what Andarna said, quote, "I waited 650 years to hatch, waited until your 18th summer when I heard the elders talk. It is why I was left behind. At least from what I remember, it has been centuries."
yeah. Feels like those 2 timelines match up for a reason.
Yeah. So we know Andarna is the weapon because,
Right.
like, she was left behind for that reason being Venin are back
Yeah.
better
Yep.
than ever. And
Might need to create some wards.
right. So we have that. And also at one point, Violet says, like, "Oh my God, isn't it strange how my dad was looking into feather tails and that he was researching feather tails and like I got bought into a feather tail?" And then Taryn was
Taryn.
like, "I promise you, I know nothing of that was going on." And then it says Andarna was silent.
That I caught as well. But, you know, what's his face? Taryn is not one of the elders.
Mhm.
Coda is an elder. And he knows what she is. That was the whole face-off between Violet and Coda towards the end of the book. So it is curious.
Yeah. And now for our last point, the Venin Sage, or the General, whatever you want to call him.
Right.
That's who Xaden fought at the end. That's who Xaden and Violet were both dreaming of. So we know that it's been 50 years since Xaden's grandfather was bonded, right, to Sigale. At one point, Xaden says, "We're 50 years too late on this war."
Okay, I do remember that moment. I was wondering why he said 50 years.
And the only other time we know 50 years is the fact that 50 years ago, his grandfather was bonded to Sigale.
Interesting. So the theory is and this goes back to what you were saying earlier, that Xaden's grandfather might be the general or the sage. Which, I mean, Xaden does speak as if he knows this individual.
Yeah. Because Xaden was like, "They've come for me."
Yeah, he's come for me. Or they've come for me. I can't remember what pronouns he used.
I'm pretty sure the sage identifies as he, him.
Yeah, I mean, the way he spoke.
I want to say that we do respect pronouns. I want people know. Like, Amy and I do respect pronouns. That was not meant in a condescending way.
It does strike me that Xaden knows the actual identity of the sage, has interacted with that individual before. We know that his father was executed, but we don't know whatever happened to his grandfather. And we know Sigale has kept secrets about Xaden from Taryn in the past. So this would easily be another secret that she's keeping.
Yep. Right?
Yeah.
There's some good theories. So, you know, as much shit as we give Yaros, you know, like pacing, whatever, things weren't fleshed out, sure. She does the clues and the hints and the theorizing and all this stuff. She does a great job of that.
She does do a good job. She doesn't need to give us all the clues in a Vanity Fair or all the answers in a Vanity Fair article, because she gives us enough to want more. The story is still enthralling, even if we think it could be condensed a little bit. Like, I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what happens next.
Absolutely. And I think at one point, even in the Vanity Fair article, I'm trying to see if I actually have it in here or not. I think I didn't copy it over. But she even says, like, when they're like, so her hallucination of Liam, and she's like, well, I kept thinking if I should have Xaden there or not. And I thought, no, people will get confused if he actually was there or not. So I thought Liam was a good choice then. Which I'm like, okay, so you're confirming that she's not actually talking to the dead then. I didn't need that confirmation. Like,
I didn't. I wanted to not know.
Well, now you do, and I've ruined it for you and everyone.
You did ruin it. Jess says the story definitely was fun and the characters are compelling. They are.
Yeah.
They are. I think that Yaros the more she writes, the more she's going to excel.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's still a young author, quote unquote, right? This is her second book.
No.
Is that correct? No, it's not.
No. She's written a crap ton of books. This is
Okay, I'm a liar.
This is her
first
second fantasy. Yeah.
Right. Okay, this is her first fantasy series.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's probably still working out the kinks, and I think she'll just continue to improve.
I agree. Because I think I personally feel like I saw her improvement on the fantasy side of things.
Oh, yeah.
In this book compared to the first book.
I agree. She is talented. She needs a little refinement. That's okay. We all need to be refined.
Absolutely. Except for us.
No, I need lots of work.
So much work. So much work. Me too. I'm not saying about you. All right. That was our Iron Flame 2-episode special. I know people have been asking us to cover it and do an analysis of it, and to which I can say, no, not right now. We have, to which I can say we have a lot of other things to do. But if you enjoyed this, I mean, you like us to do more Iron Flame one-off discussions, definitely let us know.
I would also love, and you don't have to include this, Jack and I have discussed maybe we do more mini episodes like this where we pick a book and we talk about the book. And we don't do an analysis. We just talk about, we recently read it. Here are our impressions, or here are the theories that we're seeing about it. And I would enjoy doing that.
You know what we need to do that for would be From Blood and Ash. Or is it From Ash and Blood? You know what I mean?
From Blood and Ash, I think.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. That's one that people have been asking for a while. So if there's any of these, like, I'm going to keep in all this in. If there's a book you would like us to do one of those one-off reviews, because it is nice. We didn't have to write notes down. We just kind of came together and was like, and we both listened to it during the week, so it's fine. But yeah, if there's any more of these types of books you want us to one-off cover, let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll maybe do it. Depending on much time.
We have to have time to read the book if we haven't read it yet.
And it's been so long since I've read so many things that
I'd have to go back and do it again.
I'm in an Alpha Omega verse right now, and it is a messy verse.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's like,
you're welcome.
I had this moment where I was talking about it with Nicole, and I'm like, so there are these wolves. I'm like, they're not wolves, though. They just keep calling them each other Alpha and Omega.
They're not wolves.
They're not wolves.
No, they're humans.
But their smells heighten, and like they can bite, and they still bite. I thank you. God bless. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Thank you for listening to this mini episode of Book Talk for Book Talk. We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform.
We would love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our form at booktalkforbooktalk.com or via our Camflare voicemail system. Please visit booktalkforbooktalk.com for more information.
You can also follow us on TikTok or Instagram at the handle booktalkforbooktalk. Bye!
Fall has officially started here in Los Angeles, and that means we finally get to do fall activities.
I have been counting down the days for when I can go to pumpkin patches, maybe even hit up an apple orchard, and I get to do all of it looking super cute in my Quince boyfriend sweater.
This weather is perfect for my dark academia vibes, and I'm so excited to bust out my washable silk blouse because I'm going to be taking pictures.
Quince is known for their Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. And that's not all. Quince has so many other amazing things on their website.
All of those items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
That includes leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim. Like, my entire fall wardrobe is genuinely turning into Quince wardrobe.
By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, we get savings as the customer.
One of my favorite parts about Quince is the fact that they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. and they still manage to get premium fabrics and finishes for that, luxury feeling for every item that they have.
Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/booktalk.